At first, Nick, welcome to Sarajevo and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me here. It's wonderful to be here.
So, how are you?
I'm doing great. You know, we're actually on a trip right now. I'm doing 7 countries in 23 days, and we're halfway through about. But the most difficult part is behind us because we've been going from country to country, city to city, every single day. And but man, my heart has been touched deeply last night to be here in Sarajevo, and I'm very thankful that I could feel the love and respect and honor. Me coming here to share a message of hope and faith, it really is my privilege.
Yeah, you have special guest also, Ismail, a young swimmer.
Yes,
yeah.
It was wonderful to meet him. He's such a cute little boy. It was wonderful to meet his family, also wonderful to meet his trainer. But you know, he's one example of a beacon of light that someone local here is dreaming. And it's wonderful to be able to dream ahead, and we know how difficult it is to not live in the past and not believe that our past will define our future, but really to move forward in love and in faith and in unity.
In people's perception, the motivational speakers are like real superheroes. So do you have bad days, for example? Absolutely.
And if you ask my wife, can Nick be a better husband? I can be. But I'm trying to be. That's the point. We all have ups and downs, but we must strive to keep on going, strive to not just survive, but really do our best and trust God in the rest. But there are times where I'm scared, there are times that I'm crying, there are times where I miss my family very, very much. No, I'm definitely not a superhero.
Yeah, and how do you bad days switch or change to better ones?
Well, first of all, I think I have the best job in the world, which is being able to go around the world and go on stage and not talk about myself, but talk about life, talk about hope, talk about faith, and to let people know that there is hope. And when you look at the crowd, even last night, whether they were Muslim, Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, even people without faith in the room, their eyes are open, they're smiling, they're looking for joy, they're looking for hope, they're looking for encouragement. And so that encourages me as well. But really, I always go back to what my parents taught me and how to live, to be thankful, to pray, to read my Bible, and I have my wife who's my best friend. And she encourages me, and she's my greatest champion of encouragement.
The best job in the world, really. The story about today's Nick begins when you were 10, depressed and attempts suicide. How often do you remember these days and these moments?
You know, I speak about it probably about 80 to 90 times a year. But what's beautiful is when you know that you are healed and you're redeemed and you're complete on the inside, you can talk about your past without any shame, without any burdens and fear. Yes, time heals, but not everything. And so we can eventually talk about our history, because for me, my history is his story, where we really can know that even out of broken pieces, something beautiful can come. And so I don't really think about it. I'm more burdened about understanding that even in America, there are 9-year-old children who are slitting their wrists because of depression and addicted to pornography because of the mass use of technology and everything so accessible. And so even last night, I wanted everyone to know that not even America has it all together. You know what I mean? The United Nations, the European Union, has said that the biggest problem in the Europe region is domestic violence. And so to bring in values, to make sure that the governments are not corrupt, to make sure that we instill values in the next generation, not just academics, not just economy, not just, you know, political stability, but really values that we understand as people in Sarajevo, that we need to help other people in Sarajevo, that we all can still be a miracle even when we don't get a miracle.
There are 3 religions here, and maybe the right question for you is, what is your definition of God and where religion is in all of the story?
First of all, we know that in the West there is a separation between church and state. But what I think the disconnect has really happened, in my opinion, is the importance of God for the success of the country. And so disconnecting God out of our hearts at times, you know, I never tried to change anybody's beliefs. If they want to ask me why I got my strength and how I got my joy and how I got my peace and confidence, it's because of my faith. I pray, I read the Bible, and I have friends, you know, who don't believe the same way that I have friends that don't even believe in a God at all, not even a religion, but they don't even believe in a God. And that's the beauty of our world, that we're all different. But for me, where religion came for me, you know my story. I asked Jesus to come into my life at age 15, and I said, God, if you give me arms and legs, great. I pray for arms and legs. I have a pair of shoes in my closet just in case he does give me arms and legs. But the most important thing is understanding that we have a soul, spirit, mind, and God designed us, for me. And in my opinion, the hope that I have to, when I'm dead, resurrect is because of my faith in God. And so that's where religion comes in. For me, it's everything. It's not a religion, it's not a ritual, it's not a tradition, it's not a culture for me. My parents were Protestant pastors, actually. My dad was a Protestant pastor. And so even people sometimes see the Protestants as a cult, but that's okay. For me, we believe in what we believe, and we love everyone, and we try to move forward. And you know, my grandfathers were pacifists, and they were punished for that, to not pick up a gun. To say that all war is unjustifiable as a pacifist and then get punished for it. We come from a lineage, Vujičić family, of understanding that we will do our best to honor God the way that we believe, and no matter what comes, we know that God is with us.
Millions of people follow you, so do you have any story would you like to share with us? Someone who is motivated by your story and someone who changed their life for better?
So there was a man in California who had a disease in his body, and bit by bit the Lou Gehrig's disease took over, and soon he couldn't walk, soon he couldn't talk, and he was being painfully shut down. When I met him, I was around 22 years old. He was at the time around 28 years old, 27 years old. And he was normal, you know, like he had full health, he was going to university, and Lou Gehrig's disease took over his body. When I met him, I knew that he couldn't talk, and so I was a little nervous, like how do I even now talk to somebody who has to blink through the alphabet and murmur and have their family member translate his murmuring and noises to try tell me what he is trying to say. And what I was just very touched by at that time was the fact that he used a technology that allowed him to type on the computer using a laser technology with his head. And he did not feel sorry for himself. He didn't just cry and then die. But for 5 years in that suffering, he actually was on the front line trying to actually, on the web, encourage other bedridden people and told everyone, don't worry, even when you're dying of this bad disease, God is still with you, God is still faithful, and He will give you peace and strength to finish strong. And to know that this is not it. And I'm like, wow, this man, he touched hundreds of people's lives, right? And here I am without arms and legs, but I can still walk, he can't walk. I can still talk, he can't talk. Yet he touched hundreds of souls. What can I do if I actually said, God, use me for the world? And that's what changed everything for me.
Strong story from the end of this discussion, so thank you a lot.
Thank you very much, and God bless you, and God bless Sarajevo. Thank you.